Hi guys, my name is McKenna and welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel, and today I'm doing a super exciting video that is making me a little nervous, but I'm still excited for it. So this fall, the time I'm filming this, it's about like a week and a half away. No, it's a week away. Shit. But I am leaving for college. This is probably going to be posted on the day that I move in, just because I'm pre-filming things and trying to get them in the perfect slots of when I want them. But today I am sharing with you all the books that I'm planning on bringing to college. This is actually the bookshelf that I am planning on bringing with me, because my college doesn't supply bookshelves in dorms. Some of them are old favorites, new favorites, and some of them are TBR books or books that I'm currently reading or books that I just want with me because they're special to me in some way, shape, or form. So this isn't by any means my only books I'm going to have my entire college year. I actually am only going to be living about 15 minutes away from my house, so I can very easily come home and switch out. I don't know how often that I'm going to do that, but that's an option, as well as my school's library provides some leisure books as opposed to just research books, and I'm very close to the local library. But with all that out of the way, let's just jump into talking about all the books that I'm going to bring with me to college. The first book that I'm bringing with me is The Other Westmore by Westmore, and the reason that I'm bringing this is it is required reading for one of my classes. My freshman Engage and Explore class has to read it. I feel at some point it was on the textbook list, so I just thought why not include it in this video, because I'm probably going to include it whenever I read it in a wrap-up or something. And then we kind of get to this shelf. So the first book on this shelf is Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertelli, and this is the special edition with exclusive bonus material. This is just the edition that I chose to bring. I also have a paperback edition, but I figured this one was just as good as any. I haven't yet read any of the bonus material in this book, so maybe I will get a chance to off at school. I don't know, maybe I will, maybe I won't. But Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda is a book that I have loved for years and years and years and holds a very special place in my heart, and I could not think of going off to college without it. The next book on the favorite shelf is Check Please by Ngozi Ukazu, and I'm bringing this again because it's one that I couldn't even think of not bringing with me. I just read this book last year, and it's a super quick to read graphic novel, so if I need a pick-me-up, I'm feeling kind of down, I need to feel good again, it's right here for me to read at my leisure. The second book is coming out in 2020. But I have this with me there. I have a little pick-me-up if I need it, and it'll just be a super fun addition to have with me. And then the meat of the shelf, because I just took them off and now it's super bare, is the Diviner series by Libba Bray. I absolutely love this series. This is my favorite series of all time, and I just couldn't not bring it with me. I do have multiple copies of the first two books. I have them also in the original hardcovers, and I decided to bring the paperbacks because if I wanted to reread them, these are the format physically that I would reread them in. And the reason I have two Before the Devil Breaks You copies, let's talk about this real quick. This was my original copy Before the Devil Breaks You that I read the first time. It has, I painted the edges, it's kind of annotated. As you can see, I underlined some passages, highlighted some, and I have written down every time I've read it, everywhere I've taken it with me. It's just a super, sentimental book for me to have. And then the second copy of it that I have, I got for $5 at a book sale, because this copy was kind of getting oh, I also forgot to mention, I personalized it underneath, there's nothing on the back, but it says, "This book is about ghosts, for we live in a haunted house," which is from her author's note, and it's just kind of personalized on the front because I really liked that. But I got this one because my first copy was getting kind of worn down and I didn't want to be without a good copy of it, so I bought it, and then this ended up being at my graduation party what everyone signed. So you can see there are tabs all over because I had people tab where they signed, and it's just super cool addition to have with everyone that signed it that I love and has meant something to me in my life, have their advice, their notes, whatever, and it's super exciting. The next little cubby, or shelf I guess, is my immediate TBR. So right here, first off, we have Shadow and Flame by Mindy Arnett, which is actually the book I'm currently reading, but even if I finish it before I go off to school, I am going to bring it with me just because it is a super special edition. I pre-ordered it signed and personalized, and I have started kind of coloring in the map as I'm reading it. So it is a super special edition to kind of have it with me, and I'm really enjoying it, and this is probably one of my favorite series of all time. This is my, the first book in the series is currently my favorite book of 2019, and I just want to have it with me. The next two books are Scythe and Thunderhead by Neil Shusterman, just because I need to read these. I really want to read these before book 3 comes out and do like a reading vlog with them, but I have them with me so that I can read them. They are tabbed up for every 100 pages or so, and it's super like, need to read these, and I'm going to take them with me so that I have them. And the final book on that shelf is A Reaper at the Gates by Saba Tahir, just because I really need to read this like super bad. I read the first 2 books in this series earlier this year and loved both of them, and I've been meaning to read A Reaper at the Gates actually in my mid-year book freakout tag. I mentioned it as one of the books that I need to read by the end of the year, so I'm bringing it along with me so that I will be more inclined to read it. We're kind of getting into a shelf that you can't see very well. It's right here, but it is mostly contemporaries. I think it's all contemporaries, but you know, whatever. The first book on my contemporary shelf to take to college with me is Dear Martin by Nick Stone. I don't really have a reason for having this on here, just that it's a short little book that I feel like I could fly through if I needed to read something or if I wanted to read something. And I've had it for a while, and I was like, I might as well just like chuck it in there. It doesn't take up much room, obviously, and hopefully I'll read it. The next book on my contemporary shelf is History Is All You Left Me by Adam Silvera. There's no real explanation for this. I wanted to bring an Adam Silvera book that I haven't read yet, and this one is more appealing to me than More Happy Than Not, and I've just been meaning to read this recently, so I was like, why not bring it along with me? So I have a sad, depressing contemporary. And then I have Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston on this shelf. I have already read this twice. I don't know that I'm actually going to end up rereading it again. Maybe I will, maybe I won't. But when I was thinking about it, I'm like, there's no way I can't bring it with me. It just, even just looking at it makes me smile and think about all the amazing parts of it. I think it's gonna end up being one of my favorites of 2019, and it just, I can't not have it with me. And then on this shelf I have A Girl Called Shameless by Laura Steven, which is the sequel to, what is it? The Exact Opposite of Okay is the first book in this series, and I loved The Exact Opposite of Okay when I read it last year, and this came out this year, and I haven't yet had the chance to read it, but I really, really want to, so I am bringing it with me as kind of incentive to read it. And then I am also bringing with me Yourewelcome Universe by Whitney Garner. I have almost never like talked about owning this book. I don't know if anyone's even seen me or that I have it, but when I was looking at books that I wanted to bring, this caught my eye, and I was like, you know, I've owned it for over a year now and haven't really even thought of reading it, and having it with me with these limited number of books will just kind of push me to read it, so hopefully I will read it. The next book I have on the contemporary portion of my shelf is We Are Okay by Nina LaCour, and this is kind of the same thing where I've had it for over a year and I haven't read it yet, and I know it takes place at a college. It's also super small, and I feel like it will just be the perfect atmospheric read. I believe it takes place in like winter, over winter break, so maybe it's like that kind of thing to read in winter. We'll see. I'm hoping to read it. Then I have Always and Forever Lara Jean by Jenny Han, just because I've gotten through the first 2 books in the series like a year ago, over a year ago, and never got to book 3, and I kind of want to, and like I probably should, just to kind of close it out, but I'm bringing it with me, so hopefully I'll be able to get through it. Next I have another Libba Bray, and that is Going Bovine by Libba Bray. There's no particular reason why I picked this one. I'm honestly probably going to like throw Beauty Queens in with me, just because then after I read those 2 and then the 3rd book in the Gemma Doyle trilogy, I will have read all of Libba Bray's books. I think that she's published by herself. This was just one that was on my shelf when I was kind of looking for books, so I picked it up and tossed it into the mix, and here it is. And the final book on my contemporary shelf is Dumplin by Julie Murphy. Again, with the whole like, I've had it for a while, I've wanted to read it for a while, I've never read it, and hopefully I'll read it if it's tossed on my shelf. And then we're getting down to the shelf that you absolutely cannot see. It is my fantasy shelf. The first book on that bottom shelf is A Sorcery of Thorns by Margaret Rogerson. And this is because I've been wanting to read this book for like a while, and I just haven't gotten around to it, and hopefully this will make me get around to it. And I've heard just nothing but good things, and even though I didn't really like the first book by her, An Enchantment of Ravens, now I know I read her author bio, and she is an Ohio author, which gives me more intent to want to read this book, so hopefully I enjoy it. The next book on my fantasy shelf is Dividing Eden by Joelle Charbonneau. I'm so sorry that I pronounced that incredibly wrong. I basically bought this book because it seemed like Onyx and Ivory-ish-esque, and I wanted to read it, and it was $5, bargain priced, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna want some fantasy while I'm off at college, or I'm probably at some point gonna want some fantasy, so toss it in the mix, and it's kind of relatively small. It won't take up much place on my shelf, and if I need to, I can bring it back home. Then I have The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. I don't know half of these authors, I'm sorry. But this was a book that I've just been meaning to read. I own the second book. I'm not bringing it with me, but I own it, and I really have been meaning to read this, and I haven't gotten around to it yet, and I decided to bring it with me. Maybe I'll end up reading the audiobook instead, but you know, I don't know. Next I have Strange the Dreamer by Laini Taylor. This is the like paperback US edition, but again with the fantasy, and I just decided like it'd be a good thing to have with me. Probably gonna listen to the audiobook, but maybe I won't. Maybe I'll want to physically read it, and then I'll have this baby for that. Is The Monsters of Verity duology by Victoria Schwab. I figured maybe in spooky season I'd want to marathon these, because I do want to marathon these like back to back, and these are sentimental to me because I bought them in Nashville when I was there with the band, and I wrote in them because I like to write in the books that I get sentimentally. It says, bought at Barnes & Noble at Vanderbilt in Nashville, Tennessee, while on the band and choir trip April 27th, 2019. And I believe Our Dark Duet says the exact same thing. Yeah. So, sentimental reasons as well as I want to read them. And the last book that I'm bringing to college with me is Reign of the Fallen by Sarah Glenn Marsh. Is another one that I don't really have a reason to. It correlates with another video that I should be filming today because I'm pre-filming like crazy. But like I said, it correlates with another video that I'm filming, and you know, hopefully you'll know soon, but I decided to bring it with me because I just did. So those are the books that I am bringing with me to college. Let me know down in the comments below if you have read any of these books, if you want to read any of these books, if you've even heard of some of these books, and if you are in college or going into college, whatever, let me know down in the comments below what books you are bringing or what books you brought in previous years. And as always, make sure to like and subscribe, and I will see you sometime for a new one. Bye!